Are you serious? Who killed Yasser Arafat? Are you serious? It looks like he was poisoned to death. He died back in 2004. I heard a little bit of rumblings and some rumors about that, but that was so long ago. Well, it is confirmed. They exhumed his body, tested his body, and he was absolutely poisoned with polonium. What? Polonium. Can I have some coffee? Here's the deal, because it's very serious here. Look at this. Here's what they're saying. In a 108-page report, the scientists say they found at least 18 times the normal levels of polonium in his rib, in his pelvis, and in the soil stained with his decaying organs. The investigation, a year in the making, concludes that Yasser Arafat had unexpectedly high levels of polonium, and that the results moderately support the proposition that the death was the consequences of poisoning with polonium. A Palestinian forensic investigator removed 20 specimens from Arafat's grave there in the West Bank, the city of Ramallah, back in November of 2012. His body was then re-entered the same day, and the samples from his corpse and grave were taken in front of 3 international teams. Leading forensic pathologist David Barclay told Al Jazeera that if I was a judge and jury, this is absolutely stone cold certain, this is beyond any doubt, in my opinion, that it was polonium that caused the death of Yasser Arafat, the former leader and president of the PLO. Now, Arafat's medical records state that he died in 2004 from a blood disorder that led to a stroke. But 8 years after his death, this investigation by Al Jazeera, which started to leak some information in July of 2012, they called it What Killed Arafat, revealed a rare, highly radioactive element on some of his personal items, including his clothes and his toothbrush. That prompted the new forensics testing. A Swiss lab tested these items, which contain Arafat's blood, sweat, saliva, and urine. Now, it was his widow, Suha Arafat, who asked the Palestinian Authority to exhume his body for further tests. And she told Al Jazeera today that the results revealed a real crime, a political assassination. And this has confirmed all our doubts, she added. It is scientifically proven that he didn't die a natural death. And we have scientific proof that this man was killed. However, the report has caveats. The Swiss investigators admit that there are several critical problems with the investigation, namely that their findings are based on limited samples and are 8 years old past between his death and testing, so the chain of custody of some of these specimens was unclear. Now, there are also 3 separate parallel investigations being conducted by the French, the Russians, and the Palestinian experts. And last month, one Russian official said that no traces of polonium had been found. And Vladimir Uba, head of the Russian Federal Medical Biological Agency, was quoted by the Interfax news agency as saying that Arafat, quote, could not have been poisoned with polonium, noting that tests carried out by the Russian experts found no traces of this substance. The agency did say, however, they retract the report, denying that Uba had made any official statement on the findings. So in other words, we want to go on record as his comments are not our official position. So, having said all that, Yasser Arafat. What is the ramifications? He's dead. That is a proven fact. And the Bible does say, if you live by the sword, you shall die by the sword. And we know that he was a terrorist. We know that he was very active in terroristic events. And this went on for history, for years. The fact that he got to sleep in the Lincoln bedroom 16 different times bothers me a lot. But I'll lay it all aside. Was he murdered or not? And if so, who did it? Now, what are the ramifications if he was murdered, if he was assassinated? And let's say, obviously, everybody's going to say, Israel! And let's say Israel did. Does it change the peace process any? Does it fuel the flames of hatred any worse than what they might already be? And it's not a secret that several prime ministers of Israel did want to see Yasser Arafat dead. He was causing such a thorn in their side. They even bombed his house. I forgot which prime minister that was. I don't think that was Benjamin Netanyahu. I think that was Prime Minister Ehud Barak, but I'm not sure about that. It could have been Ariel Sharon. Somebody did. I know they bombed his house, so I should have went and studied that out or checked it out. I'm sorry. But my point is this. This, as they're looking at trying, and do you remember what I told you about that when as we get closer to this Daniel 9:27, a covenant with many, we're going to begin to see more and more and more at the last seconds some very contentious situations developing. Some will be rumor, some will be outright lies, some will be truths, but all of it will be trying to derail a peace agreement that many wish we never had in the first place if it's going to divide the land of Israel. And matter of fact, woe unto those who do. Woe unto those nations that do. And America is certainly right in the middle of that. And that brings great concern to me. You know, I know when I was reading the scriptures a couple of days ago about how that in Rebekah's womb there were two nations struggling in her womb. Of course, Jacob and Esau. And I'm looking right now just to see if I can spot that real quick. I might be able to find that real fast. But there was, they in her womb, Jacob and Esau, these twins. And the Lord said, in your womb is two nations. Two nations. Should have had this looked up. Just give me a second. I might spot it as I'm just glancing through here. But certainly, Rebekah was in a situation where she was trying to bear her sons. And it was a very difficult situation. And so they struggled in her womb. They literally fought in her womb. Which is quite amazing when you think about that. We know that eventually Esau would be born first, but it was prophesied that the elder would serve the younger, which was Jacob. And so this went on and on and on. We know how finally the birthright, that Esau sold the birthright, and that Jacob ended up with the birthright, the blessing, through deception. No question about it. They deceived Isaac on his deathbed so that she and Rebekah helped Jacob get the blessing because it was prophesied. It was the word of God. Well, I can't see that right now, but anyway, it was certainly in the scriptures. They did have a struggle in her womb, literally in her womb. They struggled, and that was the birthing process of two nations, according to the Lord. And of course, what you have now is John Kerry giving a 9-month process for the peace agreement to be developed. Just like it takes a woman 9 months to birth a child, John Kerry has given us a 9-month process to birth these two nations. But they're struggling in the womb right now. And I think this report about Yasser Arafat is just another part of that great struggle going on between, oh, here it is. I found it. It's in Genesis chapter 25. It says in verse 19, read with me, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian. Just throw that one in there for good measure. Of Panorama, the sister of Laban, who was a Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? In other words, if I'm to have a child, I've been barren. If I'm to have these children or this child, why am I going through all this? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. The 2-state solution, or the 2-state scenario, which could be all a part, no doubt, of the Daniel 9:27 prophecy, which leads us to the abomination of desolation, spoken by Daniel the prophet and prophesied that it will happen by Jesus Christ as one of the signs of the end of the world, will be, of course, when the Antichrist walks into the temple of God before the worshipers of God and declares that he is God. It is the abomination of desolation. Well, first, the 2-state solution probably needs to happen for all of those things to develop. So who killed Yasser Arafat? How did that happen? And what does it mean in biblical prophecy? Don't miss the show today from 12 noon to 3 p.m. at my website, www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. I have a special guest. It's Jesse from EP Earthwatch. He is very good. It will be powerful. Don't miss it. We'll see you today. Or if you aren't going to be able to be at the chat room, come to my website, paulbegleyprophecy.com. Go to the live show page. Right there, I'll be on the air just like I am right here live. And right next to it, a chat room. You can interact in the chat room. But if you're not at home, listen to it on your cell phone. Just dial the number 347-324-5208. That's 347-324-5208. I'll be taking your calls as well after we interview Jesse of BP Earthwatch.